Hey, welcome to Crafty Music Tips. My name's Crafty and I'm a full-time musician and music coach. Yeah, that's enough of the spiel. Now, Happy New Year. Welcome to my first video of 2023. Now, before I get into what is going to help you out with the best information that I found out for myself as a musician in 2022, what I want to just quickly do is recap the past year on this YouTube channel, just so that you can see what is available here to you to be able to check out. Now, this was the last video that I did in 2021, which is a video just looking at why you love or hate Christmas carols. Now, this as a music tips YouTube channel has many different subjects that I delve into. So one of the things that I regularly do is I react to successful artists earlier on in their career. So I began last year with looking at early Metallica, and then as you can see here, there was Guns N' Roses, Pink Floyd, and several others. Actually, the first of the two Chili Peppers albums last year I reacted to. Some other things as a guitarist that you can check out is some exercises, how you can change some guitar strings, which is a little bit of window shopping for what my Crafty Guitar Club membership can give you as a guitarist, if that is something that can help you. Now, some general things that may help you is top 5 things that musicians overlook, how to talk on stage between songs, what is a key in music and why should you care. That's not really guitar specific, that's any musician really. Hopefully that is some stuff that can help you out. Now, if you're interested in music teaching, last year was my 20-year anniversary as a guitar tutor. So I did a couple of videos how I became a music teacher, so the story of how I started.
I like stories.
But then also 20 things I learnt in 20 years as a music teacher. And a new venture that I got involved with during the past year was with Sing It Live, which is a live recording performance band that up to now has just been involved with a guy called Darren Mullen in his basement studio, and we just record songs. I'm one of several musicians that's involved, and every so often I take a look at the behind the scenes, what goes into certain songs. And some of the videos involve talking to Darren himself about the process. Some of them involve the musicians and the singers. Okay, so that's enough of that. But as I said, I hope that there's a bunch of stuff there that can be really helpful for you. Now, so the number one thing that I discovered in 2022 online was a podcast. In my opinion, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You may have heard of this record producer, Rick Rubin. If you haven't, let's have a look. What's some stuff that he's done? Paul McCartney, you might have heard of him.
Sir Paul invaded America, appearing on a beach towel from Target.
You up for listening to a bit of music?
Yeah. What you got?
Here's a little number.
If we just go to the Wikipedia here, well then let's have a look. So what has he done? He's helped popularize hip-hop by producing records for such acts as Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Public Enemy, and LL Cool J. But he's done so much more than that. He's produced heavy metal bands such as System of a Down, Metallica, and Slayer, the alternative rock bands, The Cult, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Weezer. And he even did a few later country records with the late, great Johnny Cash. Now, that's to name a few. Now, I'm a big fan of a bunch of those acts. Red Hot Chili Peppers in particular is where I first heard of this name, Rick Rubin, when on a bunch of the albums, on the inside covers, you would see produced by Rick Rubin. And then over the years, I just noticed his name so much more far and wide. And so last year I discovered his Broken Record podcast, and I've been keeping an eye on it because he releases great interviews with some great artists quite regularly. And just recently I noticed he's got up to 100,000 subscribers. This is a guy that would have, God, I don't know how many Grammy awards. I mean, this guy is held in such high esteem in the music industry, and he's only got 100,000 subscribers. There is a really great YouTuber called Rick Beato, something about the name Rick. If you haven't heard of him, he does a lot of really great interviews with a lot of really great artists and musicians. And my favorite thing about his interviews is that they really are for musicians. the type of questions that he'll ask, but also just because they're musos hanging with each other, it's not a journalist.
So many different stylistic things. There's a lot of really sophisticated jazz harmony that you do in there.
Well, they're the surprise moments, I know I saw your interview with Sting and Dominic, and Sting is so right about that. We need to be surprised, because actually surprise equals entertainment.
There's something different about how the interviewee is talking back.
If my answers frighten you, Vincent, then you should cease asking scary questions.
I don't know if you're someone that likes listening to your favourite artists in interviews, but I definitely do. And one thing I've noticed is that there are some journalists that can get some really good responses out of the artist, but it's not necessarily always the case.
Did you all know one another? Would you hang out? Would you visit? Would you gig with one another? Would you work on each other's music?
How many no's do you want?
Pretty much in every single case that Rick Beato is talking to one of my favourite artists, I'm just so blown away, because the artist is just revealing a lot of different sort of info than they would ordinarily share in an interview. And me, as a musician, I get a lot out of that. And so if you're watching this as a musician as well, where you're really keen to learn, well, might I suggest that if you haven't already seen Rick Beato's channel, well, then you go check that out. But this Broken Record podcast, being that so few people know about it, I reckon check that out. I mean, like, Rick Beato has over 3 million subscribers currently, whereas Rick Rubin has all of the Grammys and all of the prestige under the sun, but I'm assuming this is quite a bit of a newer venture for him. And yeah, I guess every Tom, Dick and Harry is doing a podcast these days. So I'm telling you, check out this podcast. Let's just look at some of the artists that he talks to. Me being a Chili Peppers fan, in particular, I've been so fond of him talking to Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist John Frusciante several times. I don't think he's finished with his conversation. He just keeps coming back and talking about more stuff.
If you're doing something new or going out on a limb, if you're really going forward, there are always people who will resist. Always.
Yeah.
They have no context for it, you know?
So with everything I'd learned about making music for how it sounds and going with your feelings and supporting your bandmates and all that kind of stuff, when we went in the studio to do Stadium, I was just kind of like, I had this idea that I was going to play in a way that was going to draw more attention to the guitar playing. And I think I really had to get my ego out of the way of it.
All of them are just fantastic. So Neil Young, if you're a fan, is great. Jacob Collier, fantastic. Who else we got? I'm just going to call out some people that I know. So, Derek Trucks and his amazing wife. Jack White. Bella Fleck from Bella Fleck and the Flecktones with the amazing Victor Wooten on bass. This was one of my favourites, being a big fan of the band The Doors. He's got Robbie Krieger and John Densmore, the only two surviving members of the band, and they don't hold back. It's fantastic to just really hear them really speak about their past being in the band The Doors. Bell and Sebastian, Michael Stipe. We've got the rest of the members of the Chili Peppers here. Bonnie Raitt, I have to listen to that. Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. This is awesome. Jackson Browne, Yusuf Islam, Cat Stevens, come on. Oh, Paul Simon? Yeah, no worries. Now, this looks like a conversation that isn't with Rick Rubin himself. He does have a few other people that chat, and I've listened to a few of those, and they're fantastic people as well. Very similar to the Rick Beato thing, where they're not a journalist. They're people in the industry that are getting some really good quality conversations. And for us, great things to learn. Now, Diane Warren, if you're not aware, has many, 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 many hit songs. Look, and it's only freaking 4,500 views. What's going on? Like, these are legends that need to be listened to. You got Lindsey Buckingham, probably never heard of Fleetwood Mac that he's from, and Ringo Starr. Oh, come on. I mean, look, you get the picture. Broken Record podcast, check it out. So I hope you weren't one of the 100,000 subscribers that Rick and the podcast already has. Hopefully you've learnt something there and you can go and check out some gold.
I love gold.
If you were one of the 100,000 subscribers, well then let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Am I on the money? It's great, isn't it? So look, I think that's it for me. Wishing you the absolute best for 2023 and beyond as a musician, as a person. This is the Crafty Music Tips YouTube channel where hopefully something can give you a hand with your musical journey as well. So until the next video, I'll say see you later. And just remember, look, you don't have to do it all right now. Just do the next thing.